Hello friends and welcome back for another episode of Indie Impressions. My name is Nick and today we're going to be checking out the open beta version of something called Greedy Guns. This is an upcoming action platform Metroidvania with a bit of an old school flair and some co-op action. All of those things that I just mentioned are things I'm a massive fan of, and I did spend about 10 minutes or so with this one so far, and I have to say I have very positive impressions. So this is probably going to be one that you guys are going to want to check out in the future. But anyway, let's look at the options menu real quick, and I'll get into why I think this game seems very cool to me. So options menu is very bare. We've got an option for sound effects and music. Leave those wherever you like them, and then we can assign our controllers however we see fit. It defaulted to only putting the keyboard over to the player 1 slot. I had to slide my 360 controller over as well since I'm choosing to play with that. The keyboard controls were fine, and that's what I played with for the first little bit, but honestly I think you'll just have a better time in general using 360 controller. There were a couple instances where I noticed keys were bound to like opposite ends of the keyboard, so like we would have WASD or arrow keys to move and then like have to hit enter or escape or things like that. So there's a little bit of a stretch there, but hopefully in the final version you'll be able to remap things. Let's start a new game and check it out. Alright, so we're going to be playing as Bob, who just made a pretty smooth landing, as you can see, just crushing all of those alien creatures, whatever they were. The Hand, we're going to talk to the Hand. Listen up, your goal is to neutralize a primordial creature northeast from here. HoloCorp is willing to pay a small fortune for a sample of its DNA. That's what I like to hear. Consider it dead. And that's all the motivation we need to get started. How perfect is that? I always love it when you can get right into a game. We don't need a ton of story and exposition before we can get into it, because basically the game speaks for itself. I mean, we've got a really lovely graphical aesthetic here. I really enjoy the way that this is rendered. It reminds me a little bit of like Offspring Fling meets Battle Block Theater with a touch of Contra, which is all great. I mean, the Contra is maybe a little bit more in the actual action moment to moment, but it's going to teach us how to play. Nothing too complex here. Double tap on A for a double jump, and we'll be on our way. We've got our firing map to right trigger here, which is going to tell us about right about now. We're going to watch out for that thing's fireball, and we're going to collect all the dollars that it drops. And it's always a lovely feeling to be reassured by picking up money that looks, you know, fancifully rendered. It seems like it's got something to it. And we're going to be picking up a lot of that collectible, and it's going to make us real happy. So let's pop this little, whatever this egg sac is up here, and it'll probably release some pheromones or something, and that'll drop that tentacle for whatever reason. No problem, just another kind of a checkpoint element. That would be an actual checkpoint. And we'll continue our way on. There are actually some things we can take note of here. We've got a map, which is kind of a little bit like a massive version of the Super Metroid map, which I always enjoy. You'll see we've got a legend, of course. We've got our bouncing icon of our own selves there. Our ship is back to the left, and our objective is all the way up there. Now, normally we'd be able to scroll, but there's nothing really to scroll to at the moment. So again, it's our objective, find and destroy the primordial creatures. So let's just keep diving deeper into things and see what kind of creatures we might run into. We've got some kind of flying pears with spikes coming out of them, all of which are rendered with a lovely, delicate bit of animation. You'll notice there's all degrees of parallaxing and particle effects going on here if you actually pay really close attention. And I'll just take a moment here to highlight that. We've got bits of enemies flying down, we've got spurts of blood, we've got maybe little bits of bone or entrails flying apart in different directions, we've got particle effects of just the ambience giving volume to the air, we've got several degrees of background all moving on their own pace, little bits of enemies collecting on the ground temporarily, as well as, of course, the item drops themselves, or the money drops here. And everything feels very vibrant and alive, and rather colorful as well. I believe this tide of enemies will never actually end, so this is up to us how much we want to farm. We would be rewarded if we farm long enough at this point with a grenade launcher later on, but that is up to you guys how much you want to spend in terms of time. Personally, though, I'd rather just keep moving on, because there will be actually some monetary rewards in pretty much every direction we go in, so no reason to stay still, unless just to grind, which, you know, again, we don't need to do. So we're going to move over to the right here. Let's do a little bit more climbing about. Keeping our eyes open, of course, if there's any secrets. I'm not sure if that's really a thing as much in this, but there's probably something to watch out for anyway, whether or not it comes in the form of monetary gain, or maybe there will be actually some power-ups or something to look out for. I haven't run into any in my short time in the game so far, but given that this is a Metroidvania-style map, I'm going to assume that we'll eventually get some kind of upgrades. It does kind of pose an interesting question, though, considering we start out with a double jump, and that's usually one of the best moves you get in most Metroidvania-style games. So we'll see what other kind of things maybe there are to run into. I can only imagine this would be a ton of fun as well in co-op. I'm thinking it's got some Metal Slug feels to it there too. Hopefully there's some other interesting weapons that will kind of differentiate us from our partner, because the stuff I've seen so far was, well, basically we have this normal sort of a pistol style thing, then we eventually can upgrade to a rapid fire, which is much faster, much more damaging, and then there's, again, that grenade launcher I mentioned, which I haven't actually had enough money to purchase, so maybe that'll be a thing too. We've got a little bit of dialogue here, so Bob says, "What's that smell?" Talk to the hand. "You don't want to know." Readings show that the regurgitated matter is quite poisonous. So the puke will kill me? Yep. Alright, so we'll probably not go through that. That would be a lock mechanism as we've ever seen it. And we'll keep going on. Nothing else going on in this area. So any shortcomings that I'd noticed are very few and far between. I even want to point out, of course, if you look at the ground here, the particle effect of me shooting the ground results in grass being kicked up, whereas if I shoot the ceiling, we actually get little bits of dirt. That's a, very careful attention to detail. You don't see all that often. But the one thing maybe that if I had a gripe, it would just be the fact that the jumping feels a little funny to me. It's really pretty minor though, and honestly I'm sure I would get used to it after a short amount of time playing the game. For now though, it's just a bit of a momentum thing. They kind of want you to keep moving in the same direction, and the double jump doesn't always negate all the momentum. So let's see, if I tried to jump straight away up to this platform, you can see it's a bit of a struggle for me to pull back to get onto it if I was actually going to overshoot the platform. And in most cases, you'll actually just fall there. So air control is a bit at a minimum, but I can't really say that that's actually a real criticism. That's just, a personal subjective gripe that I have, that I kind of wish I could control my character slightly better. Honestly, why would we expect the dude to be able to have air control? He's just a dude with a gun, so I can't really be upset about that. But yeah, that's like as far as I can go as far as really criticism goes, because everything feels fantastic. The gunplay feels fine, the balance, the difficulty feels pretty good so far. I got to a point where I actually did end up getting killed, and that I felt like was my own fault. So, I mean, what more could you ask for? I always felt like Metal Slug games were maybe a little bit too far in the unforgiving direction. This feels very nicely balanced for the beginning, to kind of hook you in and give you a chance to get used to the game before they really pull the rug out from you, if they're going to do that at any point. So, the enemy designs have been pretty diverse. I kind of feel a little bit like I'm fighting Plants vs. Zombies from one point to another, but, there's nothing wrong with that. The enemy designs are their own thing. This is where we learn that we can actually break some of those dirt tiles, keeping an eye open again for any breakable blocks that don't look obvious that maybe I could use to get into a secret area. And eventually we're going to be introduced to some more swarm-like enemies, which of course goes really well once we get like a rapid fire move, which we don't quite have yet. Still sucking up lots of money. Also, I hope you're paying attention to the fact that the plant life has been rather diverse as we get around, too. I mean, even just going as far as looking at the color palette of things, it's slightly been changing a little bit. We've got these yellow, disc, pineapple chunk-looking plants growing out of the ground, as well as a few little fronds of leaves and such. And it all looks great. I love all the little details and animations, and everything feels really high quality and high production value. And I'm not sure exactly what the development situation is for this game as far as how many people are on the team or what, but I have to say it looks really like a professional venture. Nothing about this seems amateurish to me, which is also fantastic given that it's in beta. It's not even completely done with the polish yet, and right now I feel like it's in a very releasable state for, well, I don't know if this version of the game that we're playing right now has all of the included story. I'm not sure where this cuts off. But the bit that I've played, I will say, definitely feels completely ready to go. Wow, look at that little dirt chunk. See how far it just slid? And everything just kind of gracefully faded away. It's another nice thing. Things don't just kind of vanish. They actually have that little bit of juiciness to them where they'll kind of slowly just vanish by virtue of getting smaller and scaling down. There's a little bit of a mini-boss situation here. We've got to shoot a bunch of these little ball enemies without getting too caught up in being in one spot for too long. Oh, hey, the door actually opened without me killing the last one. I wonder why. So I found a bit of a glitch there or something. So there should be a nice balance between platforming and enemy fights. I think it's actually been really lovely so far. I think it's actually basically perfect as far as what I would have wanted. The thing that only, if I was to make one criticism, there was a point, and it was actually an optional thing, but there was actually a platforming sequence that if you screw it up at all, you just instant die, which is, not a big deal, considering People have been doing that since the Mega Man days. Oh man, we gotta do a little bit of strafing back here. Alright, no problem. And, yeah, so the basic thing was you had to do a bunch of jumps over like a punji pit over some, you know, spikes. And any little movements wrong there would result in you falling to your death. And I can't even tell really what the punishment is for death in this. It didn't seem very severe, honestly. I think I was meant to go up into that little nook or cranny up there. Should be able to do it right in this spot instead. And kind of fire down on top of them. Kind of feels like that one Mega Man X level where you've got the drills coming through and you've got to jump away to get away from them before they crush you. Not sure how far I want to play into this, but I definitely want to at least show the weapon upgrades. There is a shop that will be coming up in short order. They look like reverse strawberries that we're firing on right there. I wonder how they got the art style so consistent, because everything looks really, really well done. Oh, it looks like they're going to just kind of make a beeline right around me. No problem there, might as well avoid that. Really not a lot of impetus to really kill all the enemies unless you're just looking for money. Where are we on the map right now? So our goal is up to the top middle. We're on the bottom right. Okay, let's go to the right here. I was going to go to the left. That's where I went in my prior play. Oh, is this actually the way forward? Not sure. It seems like a big open area, though, so I'm actually going to head back in this direction. I'm going to hope that eventually I can get up there, because Metroidvania, right? And let's see what's over in the other direction now. A wall climb ability would be very lovely. Oh, look at this. Kind of like Borderlands, actually, only no ninjas come out this time. Hey, I see you're getting quite a bit of action going on. You should use the store terminal and buy a better weapon. Sucks for us that we're not like the greatest bounty hunters, otherwise they'd have nothing to sell us. So, oh, all we needed was 5,000 actually for that. What am I at now? 3,900. So we're actually not super far away from that, but I do want the grenade launcher. So we'll equip that to our other slot. And presumably I should be able to like switch back and forth if I want to later. Not really sure how that works when you have multiple, because right now I have 2 slots so I can keep both, but maybe if I buy the third one, can I bring it back over? I don't know. So DPS is 400, rate of fire is 10, versus 500 but 5, so this is less damage, double as fast. It's actually pretty good. And let's switch it. How do I switch it? Oh, yeah, right bumper. And we get one of these going on. Very Metal Slug looking, I think, the way that fires. And you'll notice, of course, the longer we fire, the quicker that little gauge will dissipate, but as soon as we let off fire, it just fills right back in. So they're very generous with the concept of ammo, and I like that a lot, because I like the idea of being able to just keep firing for a very long amount of time, but I understand the need to balance it as well. Now this is very satisfying, what's going on right here. All of this pile of bugs that we're shooting up and getting little, you know, drops from. The fact that they're filling up the screen like that, that's, you know, you love that. As a player of video games, you love getting lots of drops. Whether they're insignificant or not, it still feels good seeing all these things shoot out of them. I'm not sure why all the bugs have money, but I guess we'll just say they're some sort of DNA currency or something. It's really the only way you could construe that to be anything. So, continuing on, I think this is what leads me to that one optional bit that I was talking about earlier. Head up here. I think we've got another checkpoint coming up. See, my health is still going okay, but thankfully the checkpoint is right here. We'll refill that again. Yeah, probably didn't want to get hit there, but, well, what can you do? And this is where we've got to actually run for our lives a little bit. Probably want to try and defend myself as I'm running forward. The giant pear ones are a lot more difficult to shoot down. And what's going on over to the right, I wonder? Can I maybe get an ability to walk over those spikes at some point, or maybe, like, cling to these enemies so I can cross that gap? My mind is already wondering, like, how traversal works in this in the long term. Alright, so where am I now? So we've got 2 optional doors here. It looks like the one on the top is going to link us up with where the boss might be. Now I'm starting to wonder if I should have gone the other way. Oh well, I guess I'll leave something for you guys to do. Now, these guys are going to shoot out. Not really interested in interacting with them. We'll hit this checkpoint real quick. Oh, and we get punished for using that by having to fight a couple of these guys. Not a big deal. Music's real sweet. I'm really enjoying the music as well. It's very high energy. Feels like the right tempo for what it is that we're doing. This is the spot I was talking about where the jumping can be a little challenging. Just want to make sure I use one jump as much as possible because I don't want to tempt fate with that happening. Yeah, there we go. So I had 36.75 money. Let's see. Oh no, I don't actually lose any money. So what's the punishment for dying here? Maybe I'm not to the point where there is a punishment yet, or maybe the beta doesn't have a punishment. I'm not sure how it works. But if we do cross the gap, we're rewarded with this little rune over here, whatever this statue is. It's a little like a money fountain, essentially. Kill that thing on the top, and it shoots out a whole bunch of money. So now we're up to 4,000. It looks like there's more going on over there, too. Does the map imply it? No, not really. I was wondering if maybe you could see if there's like a door off the top, but it doesn't look like it. Try and be real careful about the way I jump over these. Don't get involved with the enemies, not necessary. It's all death below, so plenty of other opportunities to shoot at stuff. So let's head up a little further, and maybe we'll fight that boss. This is about where I stopped my few minutes of play before I started recording, so this is new territory for me. Oh, I can just walk right through that enemy. I'm not sure if that was intended or what. Yikes. Alright, I don't think I have enough damage really to get through these guys effectively, so I might have to just dodge a little bit better. Uh-oh. Alright, let's just not get hit another time. And hope there's a checkpoint up here again. As much as there... Well, it would be very convenient if there was another checkpoint. I wouldn't necessarily expect there to be one. It's been very generous. Probably should be getting a little bit harder at this point. I also probably want to kind of manage my different uses of guns more often. I've been basically just sticking with the rapid fire because it feels nice. Uh-oh. Okay, there's like a little big planet moment here of things falling down in my pathway. Oh, man. Yeah, this could be a problem. These guys are a little tricky. Love the color palette change here. Things getting a little bit more contrasty and dark. So that's just endlessly spitting out those guys, which is one. That's where the source was. Oh, okay. So here we go, we got a checkpoint. And is this it? Yeah, this is the room. Alright, primordial creature ahoy! Oh, we've got another chance to buy a weapon. Unfortunately, though, I still don't have 5k, so no grenade launcher action happening for me. I wanted to cheese the boss, I didn't even see it before. I was going to try and shoot it up there. Mother roll! I don't know how to fight this, but I'm going to assume I've got to shoot these bubbles to death, because that seems like a very gamey thing to do. A little bit came out of it. It is now dead. Alright, let's continue on. I guess it's just going to keep dispersing a whole bunch of these little, the roller guys that seem to be so prevalent here. Kind of hard to keep the angle on the analog stick proper. Because it does reset every time you jump back to, like, middle even, which might be useful or not. I'm not really sure. Maybe that would be an option to leave up to the player if they want to. I'm not sure if they'd prefer that or what. Alright, so this thing has a lot of HP, from what I can tell. Maybe I should switch back to my other weapon for a moment and see if that does a little bit better work. Oh god, I'm gonna die. There's not gonna probably be much in the way of heals here. Yeah, I definitely want to use the slower one for this, because I'm not really super accurate. And this is proving a lot more useful in terms of doing actual damage. Okay, watch out. I still could probably be okay if I just get lucky. Oh no, what happens on this level? Okay, now we can shoot the eye directly. Oh no, watch out. Oh, it's nice that I can kill those dudes in like 3 shots. Can I do this? Pretty predictable boss, to be perfectly honest. Oh, this is gonna be very embarrassing if I screw it here. Got it! First try. And it dropped its DNA for me. Oh, it's a lovely thing to hear. Oh, that is a nasty husk of a dead Ida, whatever that is. It's like a sack of dead pumpkin flesh. And what do I get for this? DNA equipped. Whoa, I'll have more of whatever that was. You found the primordial DNA we were looking for. Thanks to HoloCorp patented tech, the DNA recovered has been added to your own for testing, of course. Ah, so that's the Metroidvania gimmick. I was wondering when that was going to pop in. Thanks, I guess, but what does that mean exactly? It means that if you didn't die, you should have a new ability. We aren't sure what yet. Alright, I want to know what it is. Oh, it's... okay, so we adapt to things from the actual game, so that makes a lot of sense. I really hope there's a checkpoint right here, because this could get kind of bad for me. So instead of unlocking the door, we actually just roll through it? Or maybe we get an opportunity later to kind of break down the door. I'm not sure. I'd really like to get just that little bit more money, though, and go back and pick up that grenade launcher. Where does this put me? Oh, this loops back around, and then I can take this to roll through that earlier gate that I ran into. So I'm actually going the wrong way if I wanted to actually get that grenade launcher. Darn. Interesting, that rolling ability seems to make you invulnerable. Find your way back to the ship. Once there, I'll give you a new target. Perfect. Oh, this is freaking sweet. Oh, I'm so hyped to play more of this. I'm kind of sad that it probably won't have online co-op. I'm pretty sure it's not going to have online co-op. But, you know, that seems to be the case with so many indie games. It's a whole other world programming that onto things. But this would be really, really fun to play with somebody. Oh, this is a cool area. It's all purple. It actually looks a lot like Metroid Fusion over here. Similar color scheme, although it's like a smooth, like extra added layers of color version of the like a Game Boy Advance game color palette. So that was the end. Thanks for playing our demo. Coming soon. Greedy Gun still in development. And there's a site. Bigger enemies, different areas, more powers, more weapons. Oh, that gun looks so sweet too. A rocket launcher and some kind of wave cannon. Alright, that was a really positive experience that I just had with Greedy Guns. I want you guys to go ahead and give this a download and give it a try and give some feedback to them. Whether that be, you know, through their own forums. I think they actually had a link for where they wanted feedback to go. Or if you just want to leave a comment, I'd love to have a discussion here about this game as well. So please do. I hope you enjoyed this look at it. I'm definitely looking forward to playing the full version of this. It's like a very, very, very high chance that I'll play through this whole thing when it comes out, whether that be in YouTube or on a stream or something. I would actually be surprised if I don't for whatever reason, but yeah, this is a solid game for sure. I have very little bad to say about it, aside from just like, I hope it has online co-op, but it probably won't, and I'll get over it. Anyway, thanks everybody for watching. That was another episode of Indie Impressions. If you enjoyed the episode, make sure you leave a like on it. It does help me keep the series going forward with positive momentum. Of course, be sure to come back again tomorrow. New episodes of Indie Impressions go up every single day, so I look forward to bringing you another one tomorrow. Hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you all have a fantastic night. Talk to you all later.